All right, for the first time ever on ConvoCourses, I'm going to be doing a live presentation from Discord. So if you're not familiar with Discord, it is a audio and video server platform. It'll allow you guys to ask me questions directly. I'll be able to hear your voice, and everyone else should be able to hear your voice as well if you want to ask any questions. So this is just a way for us to become more interactive, and I get questions throughout the week about different things, and this will give a more real-time way for me to answer questions. Emails are great too. You can still send me emails if you have questions and stuff. I'm about to actually read one right now, but if you're on Discord, you can ask me questions anytime. I'll answer them as soon as I can. I'm just trying this out. I don't know if I'll keep this around, but we'll see. If you want to join this Discord channel, I will give you the link. But let's get into this. So somebody asked me, and I'm just reading my phone right here, and they said, "How are you, sir? I've gone through your ISO Foundations course. Congratulations. And it has been a blessing to say the least. So I just got offered a role in cybersecurity engineering with the following job description." And he goes through some of this. I'll just kind of skim through this. I won't read all of this, but basically he's going to be doing some information system security officer work where he's doing system security plans and maintaining and executing processes for reviewing and routing reports. So yeah, this is an information system security officer type job that this person just got. And I get a lot of emails like this, and I'm really happy when I get these kinds of emails about people getting a great benefit off of my risk management framework courses and how they are able to get a job, and not only get a job but do the job effectively and know what's going on. So that's why I created the course, was for that very reason, is to help people out. I just didn't see a lot of material out there. You know, there's courses where the instructor will fly out there and it's like, $6,000 and stuff like that. I wanted to do something that was more personal and more practical and affordable. So that's the whole reason I did it. So that's great. Anyway, reading the rest of his message, he says, "What strategy would you recommend to be successful in this role?" So I guess it was an interview, or did he already get the job? I have just gone through, okay, and I just got a role. I got offered a role. Oh, he's got the job then. Psh, that's awesome. Anyway, he says, "What strategy would you recommend to be successful in this role? What should I look out for in terms of documentation, stakeholders, and things of that nature? And thank you very much, sir." Okay. All right. So I'm sure at some point you're going to see this video, so I'm speaking directly to you, but I'm sure this is going to help a lot of other people. If you're new to risk management framework and into this role, and you're asking in terms of documentation, stakeholders, and things of that nature, like what things should you look out for? So one of the main things that I would say for any new person is to make sure you are part of the team. One of the big mistakes that a lot of risk management framework people, cybersecurity people make, especially dealing with documentation and the stuff you're about to do, risk management, information system security officer work, and compliance. But really, this applies to any kind of IT job, but in particular, cybersecurity. You're enforcing some of the policies of an organization, or you're writing the policies, things like that. One of the things that a lot of us do, and myself included, one of the things that I did wrong in the beginning is to think that I have to take on all this responsibility, and I would stress myself out thinking that I have to be the one and only sheriff of the entire infrastructure. The thing is, it's a team effort. You can't do anything without the team. It's not a one-person show. So the main thing, as far as stakeholders are concerned, is remember you're part of a team. Don't try to be the expert in everything, because you're not. So I just give you a specific example. If you're dealing with the firewall person, and let's say you've done firewalls before, and so you know a thing or two. That's not your current role. Your current role is cybersecurity, and you're doing risk management framework, right? But you need information from the firewall person. You need to trust their expertise and their professional role. You know what I mean? Like, you have to trust them to do their job. And that goes for let's say you have to work with the program manager, and you were a program manager before, so you know exactly what they're supposed to do and all that kind of stuff. Don't overstep your bounds. You got to trust them to be an effective part of the team. Now, if they're not, that's a whole different discussion. But you are part of a team, and you need to be a team player with them. And everyone has to come together to make the cybersecurity of the infrastructure better. And that goes for the documentation, because you can't do the documentation by yourself. If you're reviewing or writing the documentation, it has to be peer reviewed by everyone. You know what that means? You wrote it, and then you send it off to someone, and your peers review it. They look at and, okay, it looks like you got some misspellings here. You might want to check the formatting, and I think this might be technically off. And then don't just assume things. Use the team to get the most effective answer. You know, send the document to the firewall guy if you need that firewall piece, or say, hey, I have a question about this specific rule on the firewall. I need some details. Like, what do you think about this? Be a part of the team. Now, that would be the main thing that I personally did wrong, and it's been the most effective thing that's completely shifted and changed my whole career path. Just that one thing. So that would be the only thing. Let me see if there's anything else. Those are the main things. I would say that's the main things. If you're in a team, if you behave like you're a part of a team instead of trying to take on all this work yourself, it's a huge weight off your shoulders, because you know this is a team effort. It's not just me. It's all of us having to carry this weight. So that would be what I would say right there. And I hope that you read and take heed to that one. Okay, I've got somebody on here. It says, what is the difference between an ISO, an information system security officer, and an information system security engineer? This is with regards to specific roles. Thank you for that question. So I would say it really depends on the organization. I'm not trying to cop out your question. It's a legit question. I get it often. One of the last questions I got was somebody asked me, what is the difference between a cybersecurity analyst and a cybersecurity engineer? And a commenter rightly so said, it really depends on the organization, because every organization defines those roles differently. I will tell you, in my experience, whenever they throw engineer on there, as opposed to officer or operator or something like that, engineer usually implies that you're working with a larger range of technology. This is just my experience, and I'm sure it differs from place to place. But from what I have seen, if they throw the engineer in there, you're going to be working with many different technical people, meaning you're going to be working with firewall people, you're going to be working with server people, you're going to be working with, you're not like defined in one role. You're somebody having to look at everything. Like you have a larger scope, because you're the person that's going to be either putting those things together and making sure they work properly together, or you're going to be documenting and making sure that they all flow in accordance with the business operations of the organizations. You know, so that would be something that because I've been in the information system security engineering role before, and that's what I did. I'd have to work with the program manager, the upper level managers, the C-level execs. Sometimes I have to brief them, and I'd be taken from the firewall people to explain why there's this rule here, and then I'd have to go talk to maybe physical security to make sure that the pass and ID card works or something like that. And I wouldn't be like, I wouldn't know everything about the firewall. I don't have hands on the firewall necessarily. I'm not an expert at the physical security. I'm not an expert at this or that thing, but I know enough about them to make sure that they all work together. That would be my main function anytime I've had a system security engineering role. That's what I was doing. Another time I've had the engineering piece in there was what else did I do? ArcSight engineer, and that's the same thing. I'd have to make sure that ArcSight, which is a seam technology, worked well with the McAfee products. I'd have to make sure that that the build was in scope, like it didn't cost too much money, things like that. So information system security engineering in particular, that's exactly what they do. What they're doing is they're working with all of these different parts of your organization to bring the technology together. Now let's talk about an information system security officer. It's a little bit different. So their role is mostly dealing with risk management framework, and they're dealing with the process of making sure that the technology has a certain level of security on it. They're not necessarily hands-on a lot of times. They could. I've been in roles where I was hands-on. I was an ISO, but I was also working directly with the system security engineer, or I was working directly with the system administrator, and we were sitting down literally putting security controls on a system. Like, we had a checklist, and we were one by one putting security controls on a system, backing it up, making sure it doesn't crash, things like that. So just to answer your question from a high level, this ISO, the Information System Security Officer, is normally involved with the process, the day-to-day process of continuous monitoring and making sure the risk management framework process is being done throughout the environment. And they're making sure that the security controls are effectively installed and implemented on all the components of the organization. This Information System Security Engineer is more technical in that you're making sure things work and making sure that the security is in place with all those systems together. So you might not have a super deep role in risk management framework. That being said, some organizations blur these lines where you have your information system security officer is doing exactly what I just explained for the engineer, and the engineer is doing exactly what I just explained for the information system security officer. And I know that's confusing, but the thing is, it really depends on what the organization sets as their definition of those roles. So, I mean, I know it sounds like a kind of a cop-out kind of question, but that's the reality of it. All right, let me see if there's any other. I wanted to show you guys some other questions I had here. But before I do that, you guys should know, if you're interested in, I get a lot of new folks watching me, they're wanting to get into cybersecurity, information system security officer work. They're wanting to know how they can improve their resume. If you're curious about it, go to ConvoCourses.com. The link of that will be in the description below. And what you'll see there is how to get into cybersecurity. I've got tons of free stuff there. People sign up to these every day. I get people sign up to the free stuff that I have. But I also have deeper level things where I'm teaching you how to market yourself. This is a really big thing that nobody talks about this. But you have to market yourself, market your resume. How to write your resume is what I have, and then how to market that resume, how to market yourself. Very, very important, because there's so many people with a similar skill set as you. You got to be able to set yourself apart, and so that I've got a whole course on that. I've got other courses that go deep dive into risk management framework, and as you get into these, I'm constantly updating these things. As a matter of fact, I recently updated this one, remote work. I recently updated this one, and I'm about to update the risk management framework documentation piece is about to get updated really soon. So, in fact, if I wasn't doing this video right now, I'd be uploading more videos to that one, or recording more videos, because I got some stuff on deck for that. I've got some other stuff coming, so even if you're not interested in any of this stuff, what you can do is just sign up for free and wait around for me to do something like the CAP, because I've got other courses coming down the pipeline. All right, let me see if there's any other questions. Cybersec says, hey, bro, I just graduated. However, they all require experience. Yeah, that's the thing. Experience is what all of these organizations really want. It's what all these organizations are really looking for. And the way that you get experience is start applying for jobs. I mean, in the beginning, you're going to have to start from the bottom. And what I mean by that is customer support for IT, help desk. If you've graduated, your graduate degree is actually a pretty good thing to put on your resume. So you want to put that on your resume. Anytime you've ever volunteered on the university or the college, you want to put that on there. Another thing that you can do is volunteer your time at your university, whatever university you're at. Go ahead and volunteer your time. That will also help you out. So I hope that that helps you out. I mean, another place that you can do is to volunteer your time to get that experience. Remember, the name of the game, like in the beginning, you're not going to make a lot of money in the beginning. You might not make any money in the beginning. But the thing is, all the experience that you get is can be cashed in at some point, if that makes any sense. In the beginning, it's low. It's a little slow. But as soon as you get about that 1 year of experience, and it depends on your experience, because if you get certain kinds of experience, you only need about 6 months or less. So what kind of field are you going to go into? I could probably help you out a little bit. Like what's your degree in, and what field are you going into? What I mean to say that is that if you say you're cybersecurity or your IT, that's a very broad field. Like you've got databases, you've got customer service, you've got software development, you've got information security officer, security compliance, you've got networking. Like, what kind of actual job are you prepped to do? And what kind of you said no experience? Oh, computer science degree. Okay. In computer science, what would you say that you could do right now? Like, is there anything that you got in a company you could just hit the ground running? Do you have any actual experience when you were in school? Did they have labs where you guys all together set up a lab? I know when I was in school, what we did was, one of the more fun things we did was we set up a lab in our classroom. And then we hooked up firewalls to see how the firewalls worked. Each one of us set up like a little network, and then we created a firewall, and then we started pinging each other back and forth. And then we had a packet sniffer to see what happens with the packets as you block certain ports, And so that gave me a real solid understanding of networking, So that's what I'm asking you. Like, what kind of experience in the actual school setting do you have? Or was it all purely papers and academia and no actual hands-on stuff? But again, if I was in your position, having graduated with your master's degree or your bachelor's degree in computer science, what I would do is you can volunteer at the school to help them set up networks. You could, if you go to church, or some kind of other community activities on a regular basis, go there, volunteer your time. Say, hey, do you guys, this would be good if we had another network here. Do you guys want to set up another AP, another wireless access point? You guys want to, volunteer your time so that you can put that experience on your resume. All of your experience is money, is cash money. Okay, and so you said, I did a pen testing module. And that's good. That's great. That's going to give you a solid understanding of networking, cybersecurity, and you probably know some of the ethics behind cybersecurity. That's all good and well, but you really got to get in that time. Go to the school. Say, hey, do you guys apply for the school? They might have job openings. Go there and be like, hey, I'm trying to do a little bit of, I would love to volunteer my time here, so that's the kind of things that you want to do. I got my first cut of experience in the military, is where they kind of just throw you in there. So that's where mine comes from. I don't recommend going into the military just for the sake of getting computer experience. That's not, you don't have to go that far. That's a huge dedication right there. But what you could do is just, and another thing you can do is just go ahead and apply for jobs. Let me show you what I was talking about here as far as applying for jobs. So if you go to, let's just go to Indeed.com. And let me just show you what I mean here. So if you were to type in IT entry level, and I don't know where you are, but let's say you're in Virginia, VA. Let's say you're in Virginia Beach, Virginia. I'm on Indeed.com. You could do this on any job site. So they've got some entry-level jobs here. Help desk is a typical engineering entry-level position, and that's what we're looking at right here. And this is starting off at 35. And I know that's not a lot. That's not a super high amount. But what you're looking for right now is experience, not so much money. Because once you get in, you're going to learn a lot of these things. You're going to actually have hands-on experience with many of these things you're looking at here. And that experience, once you put that on your resume, is going to boost this from 35 to 45 to 50 to 60 to 70 on up. So there you go. Entry level. There's some other keywords you can put here. Entry level IT, entry level IT support, just basic information technology, but you want to look for that entry level type words. Entry level is the key word there. So, and it's gonna take a while. It's not gonna be glamorous, but just think, like it's almost like you're saving. You're investing in yourself. You're putting some of that experience away in your bank, like it's being banked. And then once you get enough experience in certain things, and what you're gonna find is once you start banking that experience, you'll find that certain things that you do are worth a lot more than other things. And let's kind of go through this real quick. Let me just point out a couple things that as you're going through and getting this experience, you'll find things like, I'm just kind of glancing through this and looking for things that give you a lot of that just cash money experience. When you get deeper into IT, this right here, this certification right here is a good one to get. You'll find that this is a highly marketable. We talk about this on this channel all the time, the Security Plus certification, highly marketable certification. And you'll see, like, look at this. You notice how they want a degree, right? Not much, as little as an AA. But once you get this and a degree, this certification, and this certification basically is proof of what you know, that on your resume is going to also help you to get that experience. Now look at this. Now check this out. There's another thing you kind of want to look at. Help desk, 1 year of experience. Now it's preferred, not required. That's a very important thing, because this right here is saying that they will take you. Now, if it's you versus a person with a year of experience who has a degree, they're probably going to get the job. And this wasn't put out that long ago. Look at that. That's actually a month ago. But what we could do is say, when was this posted? Let's say anything in the last 24 hours. Nothing. Okay, not a good one. Let's say anything in the last 3 days. Yeah, so this one was put out in the last 3 days. There we go. And you don't have to just use this one. I would highly suggest doing LinkedIn. CareerJet.com is another good one. Let me see if I can grab another couple ones here. CareerJet is a good one. CareerJet. This is a really good site right here. It's just like Indeed. It's kind of a clone of Indeed, to be honest with you. I've got a course that walks you through how to best use each one of these things I'm showing you. So you want to check that one out too if you're so inclined. Let's just put IT entry level. See how other little things pop up here, other keywords? That's awesome. You want to use those. Internships, help desk, junior. Let's look at that one. And then you want to put your state here. Let's put well, this is looking throughout the entire United States, so you're gonna have way more jobs when you put that in there. But California, Virginia, it's kind of breaking them down by location. Sometimes they'll break it down by the price. They used to put that in there. Let's see if we can find that. No. Like, they used to have that on there, but they don't, for whatever reason, they're not doing that no more. Salary, there we go. Let me see. Let's look at salary. So now it's looking by salary. You got Missoula, Montana. A lot of jobs there. Wow. Yeah, hope that helps out. So a lot of organizations, they're looking for people with your skill set, like newly graduated people, because they don't have a large budget and they don't have very complex things to do. They just need basic work done. So they're not trying to look for a dude who has 15 years of experience. They just want a person that comes in there who's bright, who's willing to work hard, who's willing to learn and listen. And that's usually younger people or people who are college students who are willing to put in that work. You know, whereas a person like myself is going to come in and expect way more pay, expect way more responsibilities, expect way more, you know. So sometimes they have a position where it's like, okay, all we need is a guy to make sure that these routers don't go down. You know what I mean? That's all we need. We just need them to back up these servers. We need them to maintain the network. We need them to, we only have 20 people on staff and half of them are gone most of the time. We need them to create accounts, delete accounts. We need them to know a little bit of Active Directory. Hell, we even willing to send them to training, you know, to learn these things. So that's the kind of organizations that you're really looking for. So I hope that helps you out, sir. And if you have any questions, what I'm going to do, what I would like to point out to you guys is right now this new format that I have here is on Discord. So if you have any questions throughout the week when we shut this thing down, this is a way for us to stay connected. And you can just post questions on Discord channel, and I will put that out here. And actually, how can I get this to you guys? Now I think about it. I will put it in the description below after this. I will also put it in. Let me see if I can put it in the chat window real quick. How do we do this? Invite people. And I'm going to get this link here. And just bear with me, guys. Bear with me. Now I don't know if I'll stick with this, but I just figured I'd try to expand and do something a little bit more interactive. Let me see, where are we on YouTube, and what I'm doing right now is now I don't know if I'll getting on the chat. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna put this in here. I don't know how long. I think this link only lasts for like a couple hours, but there it is right there. You guys can come into Discord. You guys can chit chat with me. When we get off of this, you can just continue to ask questions on there, just text questions or whatever, and we'll just test this out. We'll see how this works. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if there's any other questions that I've gathered over the week so I don't ignore people on YouTube. Okay, so the other day, I put a video out called, are there any racial issues in IT? Of which I said, of course there are, but normally in the IT world and engineering world, they just want somebody who's willing who can do the work, because there's just not many of us. So many, when I say many of us, I mean there's not many people who can do this stuff we're doing, so are willing to do it. Okay, so somebody asked me. They asked, what about black men? Particularly, we're not talking about minorities. Everything else, like politicians, looks over black people if they're including black men. What about black men? Okay, he's talking about racial issues for black men in particular, and I say the same thing. That's why I meant what I said. Having done this for 20 years, I can tell you it applies to all of us. Like, you go into an environment where everyone looks a certain way, and ultimately they just want somebody who can do the work. That's it. They just want somebody to do the work. Are there racial issues? I'm sure there are. Have I experienced any? No, I can't point to any one thing except in the military. I can't point to any one thing and say that was, they treated me like this or like that. In fact, most of the organizations I've been to, larger organizations that are very successful, and they're successful because they try to take care of people. And that doesn't matter if you're black, you're white, you're a woman, you're LGBTQ, whatever. They just want to keep people. They just want to retain knowledge. And there's not enough of us to do this work. And so that's why they're even willing to hire people from overseas who can do this work, because there's just not enough of us STEM type people, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. It's just not enough of us to do the work. So wherever they can get the talent to do it, even right now, like a couple of the clients that I work for the company I work for, we have clients, and those clients are from all over the world. Like, there's people from China, from India, from South America, it's just a global industry. Like, you can't, if you're going to discriminate, like, basically you're cutting dollars out of your bottom line. And if there's any color that is preferred above another, it's green. It's money. That's the name of the game. It's all about money. So is there racism? Is there sexism? Of course there is. Yes, absolutely. But for the most part, they're looking for somebody who's willing to put in that work to do this kind of stuff that they can't find people to do it, and that's it. So as a black man, to answer your question, as a black man, same thing, everything I said in that video. That's, as having done this 20 years, if you can do the job, they want to retain you. If there's any kind of racial issues with another employer or something, you could take it up with manager. They're going to squash that beef immediately because they're not trying to lose money. They're not trying to play this racial game to lose dollars. You're gonna price yourself out of the market. You're gonna cut out a whole section of the market because you feel a certain way about Indians or about Koreans or about Chinese people. No, like, you're trying to make that money. So whoever can bring that value as a worker, yes, they're going to try to keep you, period. And if you have a problem, they usually, like, especially Fortune 500 companies, 5,000, Fortune 500 companies and Fortune 1000 companies, these larger organizations, they didn't get that big by staying stagnant. So whenever there's cultural changes, they make that change as fast as possible. It's the ones that are outdated and old are the ones that end up dying slowly, a slow death, where another company that's more dynamic, that doesn't give a damn about race or any of that, or religion or any of that stuff, they just want to get the job done, and then they're willing to even accommodate racial issues and say, listen, we're not here to play games. We're here to, like, they're wanting to be more inclusive because they're like, look, we got to make money. We're making money together. Let's do it. And that's the kind of company you want to be involved with. If you do happen to be in a company that you feel like there's racial issues, number one, go and talk to your manager and break it down. Like, listen, this is how I feel about this. What are we going to do about this? If they don't have an answer for you, if this company is not going to respond to your issues, start looking for a job right away. I got plenty of tools that you can use to get a better position at a company that's willing to be sensitive to those topics. So they're always looking for talented people, don't matter what race or gender you are. All right, somebody asked me, they said, okay, I'm going to stick with this racial one. Okay, somebody else said, I work with people darker than you and making hundreds and making hundreds plus and can barely speak or write English. Please, I hope you are not falling for the boogeyman mass outlet. Be humble, work hard, and smart. Okay, this guy didn't even watch my video because that I didn't say anything like what he's talking about. So this dude didn't. I'm not gonna respond to that. Let me see. My biggest fear. Somebody said, and yeah, you know, being in Western civilization, I definitely get it. Certain industries lend themselves to these very racial practices, you know, but in IT, to be honest with you, perfectly honest with you, they just want people who are willing to do the work. And like I said, if you doubt what I'm saying, consider this. I bet you'll believe this. Many of the people I work with are Indian, and like that guy just said, they have a very thick accent. And the thing is, nobody cares. We just want the job work. We want the stuff to work. We want the network to work. We want the firewall to work. We want the, you know, system to have proper networking, proper software engineering, proper, you know. So that is what matters. Your race don't matter. If you have to be able to do the work. You got to be able to work hard. Period. That's it. So yeah, that's one of the great things about IT in my opinion. Let me see. I'm just kind of looking through more questions here to see if there's anything else. And I'm not ignoring you guys. I'm just kind of making sure I go through my questions. Okay. I did this video about how to identify romance scammers, and somebody is saying something here. They said, bruh, even after 20 seconds after I started, I knew you. You were my online guardian. Thank you. Oh my God. That's funny. All right. Okay. Let me see here. I'm just kind of going through some questions and stuff. Somebody said, hello, I have 2 certifications, the Security Plus and the CEH. Which one of your courses do I need to enter their risk management framework field? Great question. Great question. First of all, both of those are highly marketable certifications. So I commend you for that, for getting into those. But to answer your question, let me just go to my actual site here. Go to my actual site and let me show you. Here we go. So you're asking, what do we need to do? And I would start off with this one. If you don't know anything about risk management framework and you're trying to get yourself into the market, this risk management framework foundations is the one you want to start with. It's going to break down the entire process in a practical way. It's not talking about anything that you don't need. It's breaking down what it takes to be an information system security officer which are the main people who do this work. And it's an introduction and a breakdown of what it actually is. And then it goes into each one of the categories that you need to do in the process of risk management framework. Now, once you get through this one, and this is being expanded, every now and then I'll come in here and I'll add more stuff in there. Right now, there's no need for that. But I've already spun off another course, and my plan is to go in depth in each one of these parts of the process, because each one of these go very, very deep. Very, very deep. And right now, this is just high-level stuff right here. Lots of videos, some tests here and there, some downloadables, some templates, things like that, which is going to help you out. But once you're done with this one and you have an idea and you want to get into the nitty gritty of it and want to start doing documentation, you can go ahead and get into this one. And this one is going into actual documentation, what you need to do, templates, writing risk management framework documents, writing system security plans. I actually walk you through writing those. And so those are the ones that I would recommend you take. So hopefully you watch this and you check that out. Those are my best sellers, by the way. Let me see. I got some more people jumping in here. Somebody said, Michael says, hi, Bruce. How you doing, sir? Somebody said, hi, ConvoCourses, new to the channel. What are some of the NIST standards that someone looking into risk and compliance jobs should look over? What are some of the NIST standards that someone looking into okay, which one should you look at? Let me show you. So let me just walk you through what I'm doing right here. NIST. If you want to follow along with me, go to Google. Show you some very free resources here. NIST, Google NIST. Okay, you said I'm familiar with NIST 837, 53, 171. Anything else? Yeah, there's a couple. 800. There's 800-50, which is talking about awareness training. Another really good one is 53A, which you probably already know about. This is a really good one. This one is really good for people doing assessments on security controls. So why this one's so effective is that if you happen to be doing risk management framework, you put the security controls in place, you want to know that they're done correctly. You can use this document, 853A, will show you what you need, what an assessor should be looking for when they're applying the security controls. So let me see if I can give you a specific example. Like let's say IA 5.2, right? This is for authenticator management. And what are you looking for as an assessor? Determine if the information system for PKI-based authentication has the following. Validate certification by constructing a certification path, validates it. So an assessor is going to look through each one of these things right here. And that's why this is a really good document to use as you're developing your stuff here. Because it's walking you through what an assessor is supposed to look at, and then what methods they're supposed to look at. And now, if you happen to be an assessor, this right here is like your Bible, because it's going to tell you exactly what to do. But as an information system security officer, it helps me too, because I can look at it and say, okay, what are they looking for? How do they interpret this? So that's one good one. Let me see if I can. You probably already know about that one. Another good one for like beginners that people really don't talk about. I'm surprised. As I write the courses, I find myself referring to it sometimes, and it is 800 100. Here's right here. NIST 800 100, and this one is a very basic handbook. And it has great definitions in it. It explains stuff at a very high level, what's going on as far as cybersecurity is concerned. It for example explains awareness training. It's really for kind of like managers. It's like a management level type thing. Contingency planning, risk management, certification, accreditation. Kind of an older document. There's another one. Let me see if I can find it. There's one I'm thinking about, and I'm trying to remember. It's similar to this one in that it's kind of a high level document. I'm looking for that. Let me see if I can find that. Yeah, here it is. It's 812. This is really good for beginners because it's a breakdown of all the definitions and a high level view of what you should know as far as a cybersecurity person is concerned. It doesn't go super deep. It just explains what a thing is in a summary, and then it moves on. I'll give you an example here. of a good one. Like, look at all these roles. It explains each one of these roles in a very concise, straight to the point, couple paragraphs way. Like, look at this. Chief Information Security Officer. Boom. Explains it, moves on to the next thing. What is an information owner? Explains it, one paragraph, moves on to the next thing. It's high level. It doesn't go super deep. It's really good for newbies. It's really good for new people. And I'm surprised nobody really talks about this one. There's a couple other documents that I would recommend. Another good one would be, kind of looking on this list here, 861 I've used a couple times. But another good one, this one, FIPS 199, straight to the point. It's literally like 4 pages long. This goes into information. 860 goes into like a breakdown of security information security categories of information, particularly volume 2, I believe. I think it's volume 2 you want to go to. What other ones should you go to? This one's good for the test. If you ever happen to take the CAP test, this is a good one. 839 and 830. A lot of that, for whatever reason, is on the test, along with FIPS 199 and FIPS 200. I don't know why it's on the test, but it's on there. Or allegedly allegedly on the test. Don't want to give anything away. Don't want to lose my CISSP or anything. Or my CAP. Let me see. So, another question. Appreciate the feedback. No problem, sir. Somebody said, I have a Security Plus, a CCNA, a CISA Plus, and I want to be an ISO or a cybersecurity analyst. What should I do to get better? And I need some hands-on. Any suggestions? Yeah, I got a couple. So this is something I learned a few years ago and blew my mind. There's another if you like certifications, if you're like me and use certifications as a great stepping stone to learn more, which I found is very helpful. Like, it's not for, I don't get certs for the sake of getting certs. I'm not one of these paper tiger kind of guys. I get certs to know more. Like, I want to go deeper. It's the certification itself, the little piece of paper they give you, is just another thing for me to put on my resume to get more marketable, and that's great. But my main goal is to get the knowledge and get the information and get hands-on with it. So another certification I would recommend to get better as a cybersecurity analyst. Let me tell you something. I'm about to change your life like it changed my life. There's a couple. I want to show you. So let me just get ready here. There's one I'm taking right now called the CH. You probably already know about that. But it's a pretty good certification for marketable purposes. If you want to get into cybersecurity analyst work, the Ethical Hacker Cert is a very highly marketable certification. But there's a lot of hands-on stuff that you're going to have to do in order to know the tools that it mostly talks about. So here, that's what I'm talking about with this. This is not in my opinion, not the gold standard, but it's highly marketable. It's one of the most marketable money-making certs for a cybersecurity analyst. Like, this is, when you say analyst, to me, you're talking about a person who's going to be like looking at data coming in and trying to interpret how this person hacked a certain system, or figuring out what threats are going to have possibly the biggest risk impact to a certain system. And you're talking about okay, we have a Windows 2012 system that's in the DMZ and it's missing this patch. What kind of threat should we be worried about? What kinds of patches do we need? What happens if the system goes down? Things like that, right? That's a type person. And so the security, the CEH is one of those certs that's going to get you in the door It's going to get you, once you put it on your resume, people are going to be like, okay, this guy knows what hacking is, you know. Because the thing is, like, the people who hire us are not always, they're not a lot. Some of them, like 50% of them that the people you're going to talk to don't really know, like, really what's going on. So that's why CEH is such a big certification, because it has hacking in the name. Not to say that it's bad. I'm not saying that it's a bad certification. I'm not saying that. It's a good certification. It's just not as good as what I'm about to show you. So there's one thing that blew my mind. Let me get to that. Is something called, I'm sure you've heard of it, SANS courses. Everyone, I don't have a SANS certification, by the way, but everyone who I know who has a SANS certification has been a badass. I'll just say it like that. Every person I know who has one. And I think it's because the way they train is like an open book. Now, I know that sounds counterintuitive. You're thinking, like, how can they be smart if it's an open book test? How can they be smart? Because the training that you go through to get the SANS courses is pretty fire. So you have to you have to know what is going on to do the test. I believe you have to go through their certification. Now, I'm just talking. I don't know much about the certification. I just know, I can tell you this. In my experience, everyone who had one was pretty badass. They know what they're doing. And I can't say the same about CEH or CISSP. But everyone who I've met who has this certification right here, GCIH, or I don't know too many people with GPen, but yeah, actually I do. Yeah, GPen is a good one. The ones that stand out to me for cybersecurity analyst work. I'm not seeing it on here. Let me see. There's another one that's really good. A lot of these are good. Like, excuse me. They have specializations. Like this one right here is mostly for, like, this is the equivalent of like a CEH, I believe, because it's dealing with network penetration testing and ethical hacking. So this is equivalent of a CEH. But the way that like I said, the way they test is just different. The way this test is all done, the idea behind it, the concept behind the way they do their test is just completely different than the CEH. And I think CEH even had to do something to catch up with these guys. It's not cheap. And I don't think it's easy, but you just have to, it forces you to be prepared. Let me put it to you that way. The SANS courses, from what I understand, they force you to be prepared. So they force you to prepare to the point where it's open book, but you had to prepare before you took the test. Now you know all the knowledge, you know. So I hope that answers your question. But you have a CCNA, so that's pretty high speed. Security Plus is a great certification. But if you want to level up, CEH for cybersecurity analysts, CEH, SANS courses, and I'm trying to think of the specific SANS course, because SANS courses, there's a lot of them. It's either GCIH, which is incident handling, or GCIA, and I don't know which one. I'm not the person to ask to know which one. You'd have to read through it and maybe ask somebody with one of those certifications, and then maybe GPen. So I would recommend one of those to like level up in cybersecurity analyst work. The reason why I'm not saying, get a CISSP, because CISSP is a very broad certification. It doesn't, you don't walk away. I'll give you an example. The difference between, like, you haven't taken the Security Plus and the CCNA. Those are very different certifications. I've taken both of those, and they're very, very different. After you walk away, if you go into the Security Plus, you take the test, you already knew the knowledge, right? It's testing for stuff you already knew. CCNA is different. It's like you had to go through all kinds of preparation, or maybe this is just me talking. I had to go through all this preparation to take it. So, and now it's practical. So you're actually on a keyboard, actually doing the actual work, right? So CCNA once you take that test, it absolutely verifies that you know a certain level of router switch certification configuration. Whereas Security Plus is pretty broad, so you can really just kind of study a book and then you're done. Whereas CCNA, you kind of have to be hands-on at some point. CISSP is it's like a Security Plus times 10. Times 10 to the power 2. It's even more broad, but at the end of it, I don't feel like there's no extra. It's just book knowledge, it's book knowledge, and there's some kind of management level experience stuff there, and there's risk management framework. It's so broad that at the end of it, I'm kind of like what does it prove that you know? I know everything, just, I don't know. Security, CCNA, it is for sure, you absolutely know how to configure, how to save router configs, absolutely how to connect the network to this router or this switch or this, stuff like that. So that's just my 2 cents. I hope that makes sense. I kind of rambled there. Okay, somebody else says, do you recommend getting a Security Plus or just go out there and try to get experience first? I would say both. I would recommend doing both. You could put on your resume. Here's what you do. Here's a little trick. You say on your resume, working on my Security Plus. The reason why you need to work on your Security Plus. So go for your Security Plus, start working on it, put it on your resume right now, and say, here's what it does for you. When you say that, it automatically flags your resume. It's one of the tricks I put in my course. So when you put that in there, and you can do this with any certification, but you should do it with one that's in your lane. And right now, Security Plus is in your lane. You probably shouldn't put CISSP because you're a college student. You just got out of college. You don't have any experience. But Security Plus is very believable for a new person. And that's probably where you want to start. So yeah, you put Security Plus on there. It flags your resume. So when technical recruiters are looking for you, they're going to say, I need somebody who's got a bachelor's degree and has a Security Plus. And yours going to be, oh, this guy's got a Security Plus. Oh, he's working on a Security Plus. Sometimes they'll call you anyway, or they'll email you anyway and say, hey, I've got a position for you, but these people, they want you to get a Security Plus within a year. Do you think you can do that? And you'd be like, yeah, I could get it in a year. And sometimes the corporation will even pay for your certifications. So the organization will pay for your certification. So yeah, put it on your resume, study for it, start applying for jobs with your degree, entry-level jobs, and tell them, yep, I'm working on my Security Plus. And then see if they have a program that'll pay for your Security Plus. Sometimes they'll even pay for you to go to a boot camp. That boot camp is basically where they just cram a bunch of knowledge. They'll take a couple weeks or a month or something, or maybe even a few days, and they'll just cram all the knowledge. And that's all you do is study for 3 days straight. It's torture. It's like torture. But they'll just cram all that knowledge in your head and tell you tricks that's on the test and things like that. They don't necessarily give you the test questions, but they might as well, because you're cramming a bunch of information and forcing you to study nonstop for days and days and days. And like I said, it's not fun. It sucks. But at the end of it, you're walking away with a Security Plus or a CISSP or a CEH or whatever, All right. What I'm going to do is see if there's any more questions on the actual YouTube channel. And again, if anybody wants to ask questions when I get off, when I shut this live down, I'm now on Discord. Go check out the ConvoCourses Discord. You can ask questions. I don't know if I'm going to keep this Discord server up, but I figured maybe this is a good way for me to answer more questions and get more content out there and interact with you guys more. There's the Discord channel link there. And like I said, that server stays up all the time, so you can ask questions anytime. I do have a full-time job, so so I can't always answer immediately, but I will do my best. Okay. Somebody said, Mike says, I'm IT security analyst and I only make 57,000, but that's here in Kansas. Yeah. So it depends, like how much money you make really depends on what state you're in, what country you're in, and things like that, But the thing is, if you want to level up, like one of the ways you can level up is to move to another state or another country or something. If you're willing to move to another state or country, you for sure can make more money. But that's not always an option. Let me see. Trying to look for other questions. Thanks for the videos. Great advice on the videos. Thanks for sharing your experience. I'm finishing my 20 years in government service to lock into retirement and benefits. That's great. I need to like some of these comments. Your podcast hasn't been updated for a while. I didn't think anybody was watching those podcasts. So I was like, I don't even know if people watch those podcasts. Mike? So this is, I'll keep doing them, but like, where do you listen to it at? I mean, I put it out on iTunes, and I put it out on, I can't even remember where it goes. So I figured nobody's watching them, so I stopped putting it out there. So I Brown Paper says, hey man, I'm studying to take it right now, and I would like to know the best way to study and the best place to work and learn more with my Security Plus. Oh, okay. So what's the best place to study? Well, everybody has their own way of absorbing knowledge. For me personally, I tend to memorize things more when I read and then take notes. This is how I do it. Everybody's different. Like, some people are good at memorizing things with audio. Like I'm terrible at that. I'm more like a visual learner. You got people who are hands-on, tactile, kinesthetic learners. You got people who are visual learners. You got people like they can watch videos and then they can just absorb the knowledge or whatever. And you've got people who are audio learners. So you got to one of the things at college, I got from college, right? Besides writing papers, was that there's different kinds of learners. You got to choose. You got to figure out what kind of learner you are, and then learn that way. Like me, what I do is I'll take a book. I'll take the official guide for whatever book. Like right now I'm doing CEH, so I'll take that book and I'll just like take notes on all the most important things, and then I study my notes. So for me, I'm tactile and I'm visual, and that helps me absorb the knowledge better. And then what I'll do is I'll take a lab, because if I do it, I'll understand it that much more. But some people could just listen to an audio book and then boom, they got it. That's not me. So yeah, to answer your question, figure out what's your best way of learning, and then just deep dive on that method, and then maybe use some other methods to see if you can gather more information. And then Security Plus is no different. Like Security Plus is not a lot hands-on type stuff. So that's the way I originally studied it. I've taken the Security Plus 2 times. Once when it first came out, passed it, but then they upgraded it later and had to teach it, and the course had completely shifted and was different. So I had to take it another time. Took it twice, and then both times I studied the same way. I just got the official book, took notes, studied my notes, went over it. And then another thing I do, here's another thing, just remembering, I'll take practice tests. There's tons of sites on the internet that has practice tests. I'm not talking about those bullshit brain dump things, right? Because some of those are fake. and you want to actually learn, so don't use that to pass a test. I would recommend taking practice tests that have an expanded database of questions. If you can find one of those, take those until you're getting like 90s, right? Until it's so rote memory that you could just like go crazy with it. So don't seek out brain dumps to cheat. Know the information. That's the most important thing. Know the information on the test, and because the thing is, the body of knowledge is what you want, and your brain is like, it becomes like a library where it's indexed, where you can come in and say, oh yeah, I remember this. This is TCP/IP. Okay, this networking protocol maps to IPX or whatever. You know what I mean? Like you'll be like, oh, I remember this, and then go back and go and reference it. Or Google it. Know what to Google. Like you have to know what to Google in order. You know what I mean? So that's another thing. Hope that helps. And then you said, what's the best way to study? Okay, I answered that one. Best place to work. It's a lot of entry level type jobs that Security Plus is going to be really good for. But no, Security Plus is not just for entry level, by the way. Security Plus is highly marketable. It's a very good certification, by the way. Very good. Michael says, I listen and drive most often. Really? Okay, well, I guess I'll start doing them again. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for that insight. I'll start putting them out there again then. I just wasn't sure if nobody's watching it, Bruce, are learning platforms like Pluralsight, Linux Academy helpful towards learning the process in risk management and cybersecurity? Yeah, so Pluralsight is something I use. I use Pluralsight, and what's the other ones I use? The company I work for, they have it for free, so I use that one. But then, what's another one? Cybrary. There's one called Cybrary I've used before. I used LinkedIn now has one. There's not a lot on risk management framework, which is why I decided to make a course on it. There might be a couple CAP course stuff out there, but I've not seen a lot of it. But for risk management framework, Michael, like there's not a lot, man. There's not a lot at all, which is crazy. Which is why my course is selling like crazy, because there's nobody else really doing it, and it's been like that for many years. Cybersecurity has many. Cybersecurity is such a huge field. It has millions of different stuff on Pluralsight, but they have different categories. You got right now, like what I'll do for Pluralsight and for LinkedIn's training is I'll take the entry. I'll just go through the whole course, like an 8-hour course. I'll just go through it, help me set things up or whatever, and I'll use it as like an entry level thing, like to introduce this new concept or whatever. And then I'll use my own method of studying, which is to take the book and then take the notes, and then that's just how I learn. So I would say they're good. My favorite. What's my favorite platform for learning? My site, ConvoCourses, is my favorite. No, probably my favorite. One of the best platforms for learning, to be honest with you, for students is Udemy, because Udemy is super cheap. Udemy is probably the best, especially if you're just starting out. It's a great way to start. For deeper stuff, Udemy is useless. Like if you're trying to do like advanced hacking or something, Udemy is not as good. It's not useless. It's just not as good. The deeper stuff is going to be, in my opinion, from what I've seen, my experience, has been Cybrary's pretty good, and then Pluralsight's okay, stuff like that. If you're into hacking, there's some boxes you can actually hack. There's like labs that are set up that you can log in and like learn hacking that way. Like there's one's called Hack the Box. I just start messing with that one. I would like to integrate it into some of my own training, into my own teaching. Hack the Box is good, and then there's another one I can't think of the name of it. Try to Hack or something. There's a couple of labs, and they're only like $10 a month, but they have a free portion. So those are really good. Mike says, thanks very much for the great job and help you give us. Well, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. It's an opportunity for me to talk about the stuff that I love and love IT stuff, and great opportunity to share it with other like-minded people. So, like I said, guys, you guys can keep in contact with me. I'm going to shut this thing down, but keep in contact. Go to Discord, go to ConvoCourses, ask questions anytime, and let's just test it out. Maybe this is something that we can continue to use. And for that, I'm gonna go ahead and shut this down, and I'm gonna try to do more podcasts like before. Basically, the podcast is this. It's just this. It's just voice form. And I will put those audio links out there once again. Thanks, Michael, for that information. Thank you, everybody who asked questions. Appreciate everybody. And I will see you guys next week.